Coming up on Carolina News, the state fair is right around the corner, but how safe are the rides? Then, South Carolina teachers are walking out. Find out what the state is doing to try to keep them in the classrooms. And later, did somebody say vegan soul food?
Vegan soul food, man, you finally can get kind of like the taste of what your grandma used to put on the table, but just don't get the bad health benefits from it.
Find out what that's all about and some health benefits later in the show. Carolina News starts now.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Good evening and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Hannah Powers.
And I'm Sarah Pritchard. The State Fair opens on Wednesday, and we have our breaking reporter, Michael Stacy, live at the fairgrounds to give you a lesson on ride safety. Michael?
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the State Fair where workers are working really hard setting up all the rides and attractions for opening day. Some of the rides, like the ones behind me, look both tall and fast, and the adrenaline junkie in me is excited to try some of these rides out. But some are curious to know just how safe these rides really are. Fall in South Carolina means the return of the State Fair. People from Columbia and beyond gather for tasty treats, carnival games, animals of all shapes and sizes, and of course, to enjoy the countless rides. While the rides may look fun, their mobile format as well as their sometimes janky or weathered appearance raises some questions as to ride safety. Amusement park and rides expert Dr. Smith sounded off on what to watch out for at the fair.
I always watch the operators to make sure they're being attentive and that they're paying attention to what's going on and they're not checking their cell phone for text or anything along those lines.
While many people have their doubts and safety concerns about fair rides, Smith says the risk of being injured in an automobile accident are far more likely than that of a fair ride. The State Fair opens this Wednesday and runs through October 22nd. You can catch me here trying some of these rides out for myself. But for right now, reporting live from the State Fair, I'm Michael Stacy.
Well, it's finally starting to feel like fall, and it's perfect weather to go to the State Fair. We have Tiffany Morton out on the horseshoe to tell you more. Tiffany, how's it feeling out there?
I'm currently on the horseshoe and it feels great out here. We are finally getting some fall weather. Like you said, the State Fair opens this Wednesday. So if you have any plans on going, the weather will be perfect for some good food and fun rides. If you have any other plans outside, the weather will be perfect for that too. I will get outside while you can to enjoy this good weather. I will have your full weather update later in the show. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Tiffany. Well, we have an update on the attempted kidnapping that occurred this weekend in Newberry. Bond was denied for the father and accused kidnapper, 43-year-old Tommy Lee Toland. Toland was accused of abducting his children Saturday. The 6 and 11-year-olds were found unharmed about an hour away from where they were taken. Toland does not have any custodial rights and forced his way into the home and took the children from their mother. He threatened physical harm and said he would burn the house down, according to officers. Toland currently remains in the Newberry County Detention Center.
Authorities are investigating the death of a key witness in the Botham Jean murder case after he was shot and killed just days before he was set to testify in a civil case against the city of Dallas. Joshua Brown, the neighbor of Botham Jean and Amber Geiger, was gunned down at his new apartment complex, according to the civil rights attorney who represents Jean and Brown's families. Brown believes someone was trying to hurt him after he survived another shooting at a Dallas nightclub last year. Officials say Brown was ambushed as he got out of his car and shot at close range.
The 21-year-old from Florida that was ordered to serve 10 days in jail for not showing up on time to jury duty has apologized. DeAndre Somerville accidentally overslept his first time ever for jury duty and forgot to call into court to explain the situation. Judge John S. Castronakes cited Somerville for criminal contempt and said that the trial was delayed by 45 minutes. To make a good impression, Somerville showed up early to his hearing and apologized to the judge. He says he's learned a valuable lesson.
It hurts, but it's like it's a lesson learned. It could have been worse. It could have gave me 365 days in jail.
In turn for his apology, the judge decided to reduce his probation from 1 year to 3 months and his community service from 150 hours to 30 hours.
South Carolina Law Enforcement Division is investigating the death of a child in Berkeley County. The 10-year-old was shot and killed Saturday night. The Hanahan Police Department says it responded to a 911 call around 10 p.m. The child is not being identified at the time, and no information as to what led to the shooting is available. An autopsy is scheduled for Wednesday.
A new study ranks South Carolina public schools 8th in the nation for worst states for teachers to work in.
Our own Catherine Polofchek sat down with a former South Carolina public school teacher to hear more about her experience.
Caitlin O'Neill's living room looks like a kindergarten classroom. And for 5 years, all of the books, toys, and backpacks that lined the room weren't just used by her 3-year-old daughter, but were classroom necessities inside John P. Thomas Elementary School. Until Caitlin decided that it was best she left the classroom for good.
I felt really guilty leaving.
Caitlin is one of the many South Carolina public school teachers who have permanently stopped teaching in recent years due to worsening conditions inside classrooms on top of low pay. She now works as a paralegal.
We couldn't ever get substitutes, ever. They refused to come to our school. It was that bad.
The South Carolina Annual Educator Supply and Demand Report states that approximately 7,300 teachers left their positions during or at the end of the 2017 to 2018 school year, which is an increase of nearly 10% compared to the number of teachers who left during or at the end of the 2016 to 2017 school year. Following the statewide teacher walkouts last spring, some changes have been put in place, including raising starting teacher salaries by 9% and all other teacher salaries by 4%. But in South Carolina, teachers still get paid among some of the lowest in the nation. And despite the one-day walkout last spring, typically South Carolina teachers don't strike temporarily. They go on strike by walking out for good. While low pay is one of the many reasons teachers say they end up leaving the classroom, for Caitlin, even more so than the inadequate pay, was the lack of support she received from administrative officials here at the Title I school she once worked at that caused her to walk away from the profession she once was so passionate about.
There was no one to speak for us, and that's the problem, is when there's issues, where do you go?
But even though she said she had to leave, she said it wasn't an easy choice.
I was the one stable person that they had, and that's what made me feel bad.
Despite her negative experience in the classroom,
I just don't want anyone to be discouraged to be a teacher because you could be that one in a million.
For Carolina News, I'm Catherine Polofchek.
The Center for Educator Recruitment, Retention, and Advancement says they are working on keeping teachers in the classroom by focusing on proper recruitment and development of teachers before they enter the schools.
Today is the start of Mental Health Awareness Week, and to kick it off, a small crowd gathered at the second annual Buddies Not Bullies rally at the State House. Parents, teens, and young children were in the crowd to see many people speak at the event. One speaker was 15-year-old Jasmine Booth. She explained that she was bullied in middle school because of the clothes she wore, and she felt like she could not be herself. Booth says she feels it's important to speak out for other people coming through similar experiences.
I was kind of nervous, but I knew it needed to be shared because I guarantee you there's somebody going out there going through the same thing, and they need to know that they can make it and they can get through anything.
At the end of the event this week was declared Buddies Not Bullies Week in South Carolina.
Still to come on Carolina News, we have something interesting for all you foodies. Find out how a healthy kick to soul food could have a positive effect on your health.
Hi, I'm Matt Martin, and I've had my fair share of bruises and injuries. But for many who put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane has created a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving animals. For help, please go to AmericanHumane.org.